But you've mentioned connection and your work focuses on connection. Can you share with our listeners what is the price of disconnection and what does that actually look like in the context of SMEs? Those founders who are leading businesses, anything from 2 million to 50 million and everything in between. What does disconnection look like and what's the price that leaders pay for that disconnection?
That is a fabulous question, Brendan. And this is what's alarming to me, which is why it's now my mission and my passion. So 3 years ago, I guess, around 2 years ago, Marshall Goldsmith, my co-author.
I've had him on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Great. He's fantastic.
Wonderful.
We were at the Thinkers 50. So it was 2023. It was the first year that I attended in person in London, the Thinkers 50. They're known as the Oscars of management thinking. So I was nominated for an award. I did not get an award. I was just happy to be in the room with the top thinkers in the world. Marshall was the Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. So we're listening to the top thinkers, and they're all talking about AI, and they're talking about automation. We're also hearing about what technology is doing to us. And so it's actually causing us premature deaths. So premature deaths are up 60% because of isolation, disconnection, and loneliness. 30 million adults are identifying as depressed and lonely. Heart attacks are up and strokes are up. So we're listening to how technology's overtaking the world and we can't stop this high-speed train. And it's kind of killing us. So what do? So message after message was we as leaders, we as businesses, as the leaders leading these businesses have to lean in with heart and humanity. And I looked at Marshall. At this point, we're drinking champagne after all of the presentations. And I said, Marshall, this is the biggest seismic shift. We have to write a book about this. And so that's how and why we wrote The Seismic Shift in You. And that's how and why we went back to London just 2 weeks ago at the 2025 Thinkers 50 in order to launch the book. So to answer your question, Brendan, disconnection is actually killing us. And yet we haven't figured out how to stop this fast train of technology because we're so dependent on it and we're going to become more and more dependent on it. So I believe we as leaders have to shift, and we have to shift towards more meaningful, deeper connection.
I completely agree with you. And the reality is, AI isn't going away. In fact, I had Marshall on the podcast and he's very much leaning into it with his Marshall bot. I've had Rasmus Hugard in this season who, again, abhors all things AI, but is leaning into it and has written a book how we can leverage it to make us more human.